Okay, so here is your web page, and I think what I'd like to do is walk you through this whole process, because when you call it up in the browser, obviously we see some stuff that's not supposed to be here. You do have the text that came out red, and if we look at the page source, you did define it as red, so I would expect that, but there's a lot of stuff going on here that, as you even indicated that you weren't quite sure what to do. So let's start fresh here. I've created a new document. In fact, a new text document. There it is, and here's what I have in it. What I did was I put a doc type, which includes, so here's the doc type, which includes a transitional doc type, and this is the format right here for that. And along with the doc type is an opening HTML tag, and the opening HTML tag has some attributes that refer to the W3 org. And then it has an opening head tag, and then inside the head tag I have a meta tag that indicates the character set as UTF-8. Just without getting into too much detail, know that if you put this in here, the page will look right. In fact, if you just copy and paste this whole element as one, just how you see it on every page that you do for the website, everything will look proper, barring that you do the rest of the markup correctly. So this is really important. This has to be on every single page of your site. In fact, every single page of any site that you do. So here's the basics right here. Now at this point, inside we already have the opening head tag. We can put a title, and the title is basically, that's the command, and this can be any descriptor that you want to have. And this will not appear in the web page itself. There's the content, or there's the viewing of the web page. It will only appear on this little tab, or up here, depending on which browser you use. It's not on the page itself. See, I can only highlight that right here. It's not on the page itself. It's up on the tab. So that shows the visitor what the title of the page is, and that's the only purpose. Anything that you have in the head section of your document will not show on the web page itself. It's either code to make the web page work, code to make the web page look good, or titles of the page, or meta tags like this to tell it what to do and what to look for. The browser, that is, what to do and what to look for. So that's the title that we have. Now we could close the head section as it is, because that's really all we need. What I did notice that when you look at your markup over here, that you do have some styles, or you try to have some styles going on. So let's if you want, we can just copy and paste that right here. That's your style element, and it's going to go inside the head section. So we have an opening style tag, and we have a closing style tag. Everything in the middle is what makes the page work. We're going to get rid of the comments because we don't need comments for the HTML. And there. So basically what this says is the color of any H2 tag or H2 element will be FOF. If you go into Photoshop, go to the color picker, type FOF. Whoops. Come on. Let's do it this way. Copy. That's the color it's going to be. That's the quick way of knowing, for me anyway, for knowing what the colors are. And it's kind of this teal blue. Now, if that's what you want, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You can do it that way. So keep in mind, anything that's an H2 element, and if we look at your code down here, you had a couple things trying to define there. You didn't really have any copy here, but that would have been that teal. And we can also put other stuff. Now, what else did you have going on here? You had you actually had the styles going inside. See, all this was really not necessary here. That could have been deleted. In fact, that showed up top, right underneath the title there. You had some other styles going on here, right here, that we could really have inside. This is called an inline style declaration, because it's in line of the text. You have the pleasureabroad.com, and you had an inside, and you used the opening font tag, and you just had a color. That's actually a colored CSS way of using an inline style. All of that can be in the internal style sheet. And again, there are 3 different types of style sheets: inline, like you have here; internal, like we're doing right here; or external. And external is simply removing this from the page itself and creating a separate file and having all of the styles in that separate file. And inside the head, we just have a link to that external style sheet. The final assignment requires that external style sheet, and I'll go over that at the end here. But let's get this completed first. So what you're trying to do is, for the H1 element, which is pleasureabroad.com, you want to have it colored a specific way. And you also wanted a background color for the body of the page. Now this is CSS format. We can simply copy this and paste it into the document like that. That's another body selector, and it indicates that the background color for the body of the page is going to be C90, and the color of the text is going to be FF3322. This is the selector, and this is the style declaration. This is the selector, this is the style declaration. Now selectors don't necessarily have to be the element of the page. They can also be IDs or such if you're using divisions. I hope I made that clear, that this means that the body, this selector means the body of the page. So the whole body of the page is going to have that background color and the color of the text, unless you define it differently, which we are. So you have a kind of a mix going on in this markup. Some of it is obviously it's in the wrong places here. So we're going to take this, we're just going to remove that entirely. So getting back to your H1 element, you wanted the color a specific color. So let's go back to, actually let's minimize that, I keep clicking on it here. Let's go back to here and inside your style sheet. Now you have H2 defined. Let's define the H1. So the H1 element, and then the curly bracket, and you wanted the color to be right here. Now we're going to do paste. We don't have to have this, but we do need that. Okay, and in curly bracket, and let's make that proper too. And that's about it. Now H1, H2. So those are that, and then we have the background color indicating right here with the text. So what this tells me is, for the entire web page, the background color is going to be that, and the color of the font is going to be that, except when you come into an H1 element or an H2 element, and the color of the text is going to be different. That's what this style is declaring. We end the head section, and we're going to go into the body section. And the body, let's, for the sake of argument here, copy this right here. We have the opening body section. We have the body of the page. We're closing the body. And we're closing the HTML page itself. So this is the content of the page. This is the head of the page that has all the styles inside, title and such. Those are the 2 basic elements of the page. We have the head section, we have the body section. In fact, we can separate it here. Now, because we defined in the style sheet an H1 and an H2, I mean this all pertains to the body of the page. So this whole body element is going to be styled with these declarations up here. But we have some special declarations up here specifically targeting any H1 or H2 element. So let's add one. And I notice that you did have one here for Pleasure Abroad. So if we do this, and I'm just copying it to save myself from typing here, and let's have it at the top of the page here. And we don't need this because we already defined it. So all we have is an H1 element that says pleasuresabroad.com. Now let's create an H2, which we have it right here. And again, get rid of that. Get rid of, okay, so good. So we have an H1 element, an H2 element, and then the rest of the body is going to be C90 for the background color and F3322 for the color. Now, if we were to save this right now, and then we're going to rename this because let's get into view here. Okay, let's rename this because I don't want it to be TXT. I want it to be index HTML. It's going to give me a little warning. Now, if I double click this, it's going to open up in the browser. And here is the background color that we defined. Here's the H2, and here's the H1. Okay? So we know that the style sheet is working. Right here. These styles are working because that proves it right here. That showed up right. So we have the basics of your page right here, and this is one complete web page with some content, with an internal style sheet, and obviously it works. Now, what if we wanted to do some links to another page? Let's say if we wanted to have, what do we have going on here? Email. Okay, here's one right down here. You have an email on pleasurebra.com. What I can do is to add a link. Oh, actually you have some links down here. Products history, contact information, order here. So what I can do is add these, make these hyperlinks. And the way I do that is to add the A tag, which is an anchor. That means A means anchor. And the attribute for the anchor is going to be href, so the reference equals open quotes, and then the name of the page to link to. So what's this for? Products.html, close quotes, close bracket, and then the descriptor of what the anchor is, and then after the descriptor you want to close the A tag. So everything in between the opening and closing A tag, this right here, is going to be the hyperlink. So when you see it on the page, that'll be the thing that you can click on with the mouse and go to whatever's defined for the referenced hyperlink, which is products.html. Now this will only work obviously if we have a file called products.html. Now let's, we can do the same thing for history and contact information in order here. So we can add an anchor right here for history.html if you want to create a history page. href equals open quotes history.html, close quotes, close bracket, after history, close the anchor tag. Now we have to have a history.html page too. And you can do the same. Now I'm going to end right here because we can do the same thing for contact information order here. Now let's save this right now. Save as, and because I didn't rename it, and where are we? On my desktop I should have that. Oh, should have that index page, and I'm just going to simply overwrite it, and there it is. Yes, I want to replace it. So if I were to bring this back up into view, click refresh, here are our two links. Now clicking on them doesn't go anywhere because we don't have those files yet. So let's click quickly. If I do a file save as and save this as products.html, do a file save as again, name it history.html, now I have two other files here, products and history. Let's slide this over the way and put these into view here. So I have history and products. So here's our main page, which we're looking at, and these are the two supporting pages, the secondary pages. When you have the call up the main index page, you can click these two links. That clicks on one secondary page, which is products. There's another secondary page called history. Now if I were to open this up into Notepad, we want to change the content just so that we know that this is a secondary page. Let's go here and just type a paragraph element, and this is the history page, just so we know what's going on. This is just to test this out here. Whoops, I don't want. There we go. And what I would like to do on this as well, let's have another one here. I want to put a link back to my index page equals index.html, close quotes, close bracket, and then the link is going to be, that's the text that you're going to be clicking on to go back to the index page, and then I'm going to close the anchor. And I'm going to save it and save as products. And I'm going to type products right here. Did you get what I just did? I actually overwrote those files as I was going along here. So I changed the history page. I can actually open this. And I just did a save as. I saved it, and then I did a save as products, and I just changed it, the content in it. So the history page says history page, the products page says products page. They both have the same link because I didn't, there's no sense in retyping it, so I just saved the file over. So basically, I created two files with just editing it once, just by doing a save as and changing a couple of lines. So that was a quick way of doing that. So if I close all this out, let's get back here. Let's refresh this to make sure that the links are updated. So now we have the main index page, the two links on the page. If I click products, what should appear in the window here is a page that we just created that says products page. There it is, products page. Here's a link to go back to the main page, the index. If I click this link here, it's going to go to the history page, and here's a link to go back to the main page. So what we did was we created a very, very basic website. One main page with links on a navigation on the bottom. We used some internal styles with basically two links that went to secondary pages. Now, as you design your site, what I would like you to do is get a little bit more complex in that this navigation bar should be on every page. Meaning, if this is our main page, whoops, this is not our main page. If this is our main page here, which is this right here, I'd like to see this navigation bar on every single page. Now getting back to specifics here, this is an italicized tag, and this is a bold tag. Italic and bold are basically styles. Styles should actually go in the CSS declarations. So you really want to get away from that. It's not that they're not going to work, but proper format says that it should be in the style section because it's something that makes the page look good. You want to keep all the content in the HTML and all the styles in the style sheet. So anyway, that's a little bit off topic here. I told you that I was going to show you how to do an external style sheet. Let me just pause this for a second. Okay, so to do a style sheet, what you'd want to do is to take these styles and put it into another file. So what I'm going to do is go to New, Text Document, and just to start off the bat right here, I'm just going to name this My Styles. Oops. .css. That's a CSS file, an external style sheet. Now, if I right-click and say Open with Notepad, I can edit it. What I want to do is I want to copy these styles, everything in the internal style sheet, into my document here. I can get rid of the tags because we don't need that. All we really need are the styles themselves. If I were to save this, go back over here, and this one I can just simply delete. and I'm going to replace it with a link linking to my style sheet. And if I copy and paste this, save a little time here. This is a link tag with an attribute of href equals my styles, which is the name of the style sheet, and then it's the relation is the style sheet, and the type is text/CSS. That's the proper format for a linking external style sheets. Now I'm going to save this. That's saving our main index page. I saved my style sheet. Now if I refresh this, it should still work, which it does, because it's linking to this file right here. So this index page is my main start page, my home page. I have two links right here and here that link to my two secondary pages, and I have an external style sheet that makes the page look pretty. I can take these now on these two pages here, I can just link to this right here. In fact, let's do that. Open with Notepad. Get rid of these styles here, and I'm just going to copy my link, paste it in here, file save, done. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for products. If I click on history, done. So it worked. So we know how to do that. I'm going to create a folder here. I'm going to put these files into it. I'm going to compress it. Where is it? Send to. There it is. Call it demo. I'm going to attach this to your email, and we can go from there. And I hope that helped.